So how do we purify this system?
So what we do here at Regenerative Elixir is we actually use a combination of strategies. The first thing we do is we reduce exposure. What this means is we're going to get rid of all the toxins and we're going to switch over to clean, pure water, clean food, and non-toxic personal care products. The second thing we do is we support your body's natural detoxification pathways because your biological system already has plans in place to get rid of toxins. We just need to optimize that. So what we do is we optimize your liver function with nutrients like NAC, glutathione, and milk thistle. What we're also going to do is support your kidney function and lymphatic drainage. We then use specific binders like activated charcoal and bentonite clay to help pull all those toxins right out of your gut.
For sure. And other things we might be doing, dependent on what you're needing, is using therapy from saunas and exercise as well. And it's going to help us also mobilize toxins that's stored in fat tissue and excrete them through sweat. So this is all evidence-based detoxification that we're using.
So what about gut dysfunction that we were talking about earlier?
Yeah, so the gut is the second major focus of phase one of our Phoenix protocol. See, most high performers have some degree of gut damage. All that coffee, cigarettes, all the fast food, this causes leaky gut or dysbiosis, as well as SIBO and parasites. This is from all those years of accumulated stress, the poor diet, the antibiotics, the NSAIDs, and what happens is when your gut is compromised, you have systemic inflammation. You also have nutrient malabsorption and neurotransmitter imbalances.
For example, what we're using is called the 5R protocol. So that's remove, replace, reinoculate, repair, and rebalance. We remove pathogens and inflammatory foods. We replace digestive enzymes and stomach acid if needed. We reinoculate the high quality probiotics. We repair the guts with living nutrients like L-glutamine, zinc, carnosine, and collagen. And then we rebalance with the microbiome with prebiotics and polyphenols.
So what about chronic infections?
Yeah, so this is a real hidden epidemic. See, most people have low grade chronic infections. These are things like the Epstein Barr virus. These are things like Lyme disease, like mold toxicity. And all of these things are quietly draining their immune system, which ends up causing fatigue, brain fog, inflammation, all the worst things about your day. And so what we do is we test for these. And if they're present, then we use targeted antimicrobials. We also use immune support and peptides like thymosin alpha 1 to help the body clear them.
Phase one typically takes about 4 to 8 weeks, and depending on the severity of the toxic burden. But by the end of it, people are reporting to feel a lot better, clearer, more energized, and they're definitely creating the foundation. From then, you can build that true optimization. And that's when we move into phase two.
All right. So the foundation is now clean. So what's next?
Yeah, so phase two is cellular re energizing. This is where we rebuild your energy production from the ground up, from the cellular level. The primary focus here is going to be your mitochondria, which are basically the power plants of your cells.
For sure. And most people think that fatigue is just a lack of sleep or too much stress. But the real issue behind all of that, from what we're seeing, is that it's their mitochondria that's failing. They're not producing enough ATP, and that is responsible for the energy that's being produced within the cells. So when your mitochondria is dysfunctional, everything suffers. Your brain, your muscles, your immune system, your hormones.
So what's causing this mitochondrial dysfunction?
So it's actually multifactorial. Aging is the big one for sure. NAD plus levels, which are critical for mitochondrial function, they decline by 50% by the time you're 50 years old. Chronic stress goes and depletes the NAD plus even faster. You also have the oxidative stress from the inflammation and the toxins, all that accumulated damage on the mitochondrial DNA. You also have the nutrient deficiencies, especially the CoQ10, magnesium, B vitamins. All of these impair the electron transport chain, which is how mitochondria make energy.
So in phase two, we're doing two things. It's increasing NAD levels and reducing oxidative stress.
So how do we increase NAD plus?
So what we do is we use a two-pronged approach. The first thing is we use NAD plus precursors like NMN, which is like nicotinamide mononucleotide, and NR, which is nicotinamide riboside, to boost production. Now, the research here is actually very compelling. The studies show that NAD plus supplementation improves mitochondrial function, enhances cellular repair, and even extends lifespan in animal models.
Yeah, but oral supplementation only gets you so far. So for clients who need more of an aggressive intervention, we do NAD plus IV therapy. And this delivers NAD plus directly into the bloodstream by bypassing the guts, and then you get the immediate dramatic effect. Some people are also reporting to feel like they finally had like the lights in their brain finally turn on.
Mm. So what about reducing oxidative stress?
What we do is to get rid of that oxidative stress, we have to use a combination of antioxidants. So things like glutathione, things like alpha lipoic acid, and especially CoQ10, all to neutralize the free radicals. We also use mitochondrial targeted peptides like MOTSC, which directly improves the mitochondrial efficiency and the metabolic flexibility.
Yeah, for sure. And we're also emphasizing lifestyle interventions as well. So that's going to help you boost your mitochondrial biogenesis, and that's the creation of new mitochondria. So, including things like high intensity interval training or cold exposure and intermittent fasting. Again, that's all going to be based off your unique biological um, genetic profile as well. So, these are all different stresses that we can signal to your body to build better mitochondria.
Mm. So how long does phase two take? And what do people experience during this phase?
So phase two typically runs between 6 and 12 weeks. And by the end of it, people generally report feeling a profound shift in their energy. So they wake up refreshed, they don't crash in the afternoon, and they have this stamina, this endless stamina to train hard, to work hard, and to still have work and energy left for their families, for games at home, to go on walks, to exercise. It's basically a radical transformation.
Yeah, and once we've been able to rebuild that cellular energy, then we can move into the final phase, and that's all about hormonal recalibration.
Mm. So this is the phase everyone wants to jump to immediately, but even very clear that it has to come last. And why does it have to come last?
Well, hormones are the master regulators of your biology. So um, they're not going to properly function anyway if the foundation is broken. So if your gut is leaky or the mitochondria is failing, or if you're toxic, hormone therapy would be like trying to run the high performance software on a broken computer. It just isn't going to work, and it's just going to end up creating a lot of other problems.
Exactly. But once that foundation is solid, then hormone optimization is that final key that really just unlocks your fullest potential. This is where we see all those dramatic transformations in your body composition, in your cognitive function, in your sexual libido, your mood, and really just your overall vitality.
So what does hormonal recalibration even look like?
It all starts with optimizing the hierarchy. We actually talked about this in our hormone optimization podcast. But you have to address the cortisol and the insulin first, then the thyroid, and then finally the sex hormones. If the cortisol is chronically elevated from stress, then it's going to steal all those raw materials that are actually needed to produce your test, your estrogen, your progesterone. This is called the pregnenolone steal.
So we start by managing cortisol. So cortisol, we all know, is the stress management system. So it's about making sure that we can manage that stress with certain techniques. So different herbs like ashwagandha, um, and sometimes low dose hydrocortisone, and other things as well that we can use to reset the HPA axis. So then we'd also go into optimizing sleep because cortisol dysregulation is an often poor driver of poor sleep.
Mm. And then thyroid.
Yeah, so for the thyroid, this one is really more your metabolic engine. So if it's sluggish, then everything else is going to be sluggish as well. So what we do is we optimize the thyroid function with T3 and T4 replacement if needed. And then we also address the nutrient deficiencies, nutrients like iodine, selenium, and zinc. These are all critical for thyroid hormone production and the conversion.
For sure. And then we move on to sex hormone optimization. So for men, that often means things like testosterone replacement therapy or TRT, if levels are low. And then for women, it could mean identical hormone replacement therapy. So that could be estrogen, progesterone, and sometimes testosterone, especially during a perimenopausal or menopausal state.
So there's a lot of fear around hormone therapy, especially for women. So what do you even say to that?
Yeah, at the end of the day, this fear is just all based on outdated research. See, in November of 2025, the FDA removed the black box warnings on both testosterone and estrogen therapy because the data is just undeniable. When done properly, these therapies are not only safe, but they're profoundly beneficial. In fact, a 2025 study in JAMA found that women on HRT have a 25 to 50% reduction in fatal cardiovascular events compared to women not on HRT.
Yep. And the key is when done properly. So that means making sure that we're using bioidentical hormones and optimizing your dosing based on labs and symptoms and monitoring that regularly. So, no, this isn't going to be a synthetic one size fits all protocol. It's all about making sure it's unique to your own biology. It's cutting edge precision medicine.
So the real question is, what about peptides? Where do they fit into phase three?
Yeah, peptides are definitely a massive part of phase three. For example, we use growth hormone secretagogues like CJC 1295 and ipamorelin to boost your natural growth hormone production. This also improves your body composition, your skin quality, and your recovery. We also use epithalon to support telomere health and longevity. We also use CMAX and cerebrolysin for cognitive enhancement.
For sure. And the beauty of these peptides is that they're targeted. So we can dial in the specific effects without the broad systemic impact of traditional hormone therapy. It's like having a precision tool instead of coming at it with a sledgehammer.
So how long does phase three even take? And what's the outcome of it in the end?
Phase three is an ongoing phase because you see, hormone optimization isn't just a one time fix, it's actually a lifelong practice. But within the first 3 to 6 months, people experience a complete transformation. Men report that increased muscle mass, decreased body fat, increased libido, better mood, sharper cognition. Women report the return of their energy, mental clarity, stable mood, better sleep, and really just a sense of feeling like themselves again for the first time in years.
And that's why we call it the Phoenix Protocol. It's about putting yourself in the position where you can maximize your fullest potential after having gone through living a life for so long where you know that you could have been doing more and you're feeling tired of the lack of energy. So it's optimizing for that and then putting yourself in a position where you can really start to take off.
Exactly. But all right, we've talked through the three phases of the Phoenix Protocol. So I just want to now emphasize something critical. So you don't do this alone at all, because at Regenerative Elixir, you have a full clinical team guiding you every step of the way.
That's right. Yeah, it's not a do-it-yourself biohacking experiment. This is physician supervised, data driven. Um, it's a precision medicine. So when you're joining us, you get access to our team that's going to be monitoring your progress and adjusting your protocol and answering your questions.
Exactly. We have the weekly check-ins, the monthly lab reviews, the 24/7 access to our clinical team. You're never guessing. You're never alone. You're completely supported by experts who've guided thousands of clients before you through this exact process.
Exactly. And this is what separates us from the other biohackers and the fly by night peptide clinics. So we're not just selling you these products, we're building a long term partnership with you to optimize your biology for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's the ultimate investment. And while everyone else is degrading, you're regenerating. While they're burning out, you're going to be building capacity. And that's how you create a life of sustained excellence, vitality, and longevity.
Exactly. So that's the entire Phoenix protocol. There's the three phases: radical purification, cellular re energizing, and hormonal recalibration. And this is all personalized to your unique biology and supported by a world class clinical team.
Yeah, so in the next video, we're going to dive into some more real case studies. We're going to show you exactly what this looks like, not just in theory, but in actual practice. We're going to show you the labs, the protocols, the transformations. We're going to show you the Phoenix protocol in action.
Awesome. And if you're ready to get started, we do have an invitation for you.
Yeah, so first, if you want to explore the specific tools we use in this Phoenix protocol, the clinical grade peptides, the supplements, the testing kits, you can find every single thing at regenerativeelixir.org/shop.
Second, if you want to work directly with our clinical team and get your own personalized Phoenix protocol, go ahead and book a complimentary consultation. You're going to get access to the exclusive masterclass where we dive way beyond anything we've discussed so far. You're going to find that at regenerativeelixir.org/masterclass.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us in the Black Book today. The Phoenix is rising, and the question is, are you ready to rise with it?
Peace out.